Let's get back to the breaking news here on First Take. The International Olympic Committee has officially postponed the 2020 Tokyo Olympic Games, pushing them back to the summer of 2021. Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe said that he and IOC President Thomas Bach agreed on the postponement, saying, quote, "We have to think about the current outbreak of the coronavirus," end quote. The Tokyo Games were scheduled to be held from July 24th to August 9th. On that note, we bring in IOC committee member Dick Pound. Dick, thank you so much for being with us this morning. Dick, you got us?
Can you hear us, Dick?
I can hear you, but it seems a little delayed.
There you go. There you go.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you. We appreciate you being here this morning. Dick, why the delay in this decision to postpone the Olympic Games?
Well, it was a tough call. It's very hard to move something as big and universal as the Olympics. There were some hopes that countries would react faster than they have to the virus, and that perhaps it could be brought under early control. That unfortunately has not happened, and I think it made it inevitable for the IOC and Tokyo to say, look, we can't risk everybody's health at this time by having the games, so let's rejig it for a year from now and hope the virus is under control by then.
Sir, thank you for being on the show, but forgive me for asking this question. When you talk about, it was a tough call, some people would sit up there and think about the fact that, the federal government, state and local officials have been preaching for over a week now about the importance of social distancing. When you listen to some of these Olympic athletes, they talked about working out with one another. They talked about the fact that they would be exposed to one another because obviously they still had to train because they were anticipating that the games would still go on. So in light of that reality, how are you guys feeling right now about the fact that it took you this long to make a decision? Because that's a week, more than a week that's gone by, and potential exposure may have actually taken place because the games had not been postponed or suspended.
Yeah, I think some of those measures by governments have actually predated some of these things, so that the restrictions were already in place, and athletes who are conscious of the risk of the virus were keeping that social distance. It might affect the particular training activities they could do, but our responsibility to everybody was to wait and make sure that there was no likelihood that the games could proceed in July of this year, and then take the decision in cooperation with the Japanese authorities that, the public health issues override even something as important as the Olympics. Let's redo it. We'll come back in a year, hope that the virus is under better control, and we can have the Olympics as an affirmation of the idea that it doesn't matter how many times you get knocked down, and what's really important is how many times you get up and carry on. So that's what we're hoping to do, and I think that will be a good message if we can put it together.
And that this would not affect the date of any Olympics going forward, correct? In other words, if it's in 2021, then the following Olympics will be in the years that they have normally been, yes?
That's right, yes. You just sort of jig the time forward by a year, but the 2002 games the Winter Games in China will go ahead in 2002, and then Paris in 2024, and we should be back on schedule.
Sir, Lolo Jones was on Get Up, the show Get Up on ESPN earlier this morning that precedes us, and she talked about how drug testing had stopped for Olympians. Is that true? And if indeed that is true, how come, again, we talk about the delay in the decision. What was that about? Why was there no drug testing that was taking place? I think the answer is obvious, but I'm still asking anyway, why no drug testing was taking place, and how did you all anticipate that would affect the Olympics in the event that the games were going to take place?
Well, there are two things. One is that the testing was reduced as a result of the restrictions caused by the virus. The second is that sort of on-the-spot drug testing doesn't catch as many people as investigations as whistleblowers and as the athlete biological passport can do it. So there are lots of ways that doping can be detected without catching somebody on the spot providing a urine sample. So I think it's important to have that in place, but frankly, far more doping violations result from non-analytical positive tests.
The explanation, just getting back to the kind of delay of the postponement of the games, the explanation sounds credible to me, hoping that governments would respond better than they did. The pandemic could be contained, and then it could go on, in due course. But given the response of Trump, especially early on, it was disconnected from the reality. We have 5 cases. We're going to go to no cases. We have it under control. We have it. As the cases kept rising and rising, it became pretty obvious, as Stephen A. said at least a week ago, that this was out of control, that this was not being contained at the highest level, at least of this government, and that it was a worldwide pandemic. I guess my question is, are you saying that there was a lag time for the committee between how they hoped governments would respond and the way they actually responded, or that it's such an unwieldy kind of huge, thing that you can't be as nimble making decisions as maybe other organizations?
Well, governments are certainly bigger and often more cumbersome than other organizations. On the other hand, they have the power to impose restrictions, and it clearly has taken some governments longer than others to become alert to the mathematics of a pandemic. And you've seen in Spain and in Italy and France that are all locked down these days. And I think the United States was slow to get off the mark on this, and there's a lot more travel involving U.S. Citizens and residents because they're in business and they have international connections, so they're going to have been exposed to the virus more than perhaps a more sedentary or more rural population. But now, I think, no matter where you are on the political spectrum, this is a real problem. And if you look at the number of cases coming up every day, it's pretty clear that it would have been reckless to persist with trying to hold the games in July of this year. And that's the decision that we made as the IOC in conjunction with the Japanese authorities, who recognize the same sort of issues.
Absolutely. Dick, I realize this is a very busy time for you. Thank you so much for taking some time out to answer our questions this morning here on First Take.
Pleasure. Nice to be with you.
Yeah. All the best to you and your family. When we come back here on First Take, back to the NFL. Houston traded Deshaun Watson's top target. Wait till you hear what he had to say and what it really means for his future with the Texans. Marcus Spears will be here for that.
Blockbuster of the NFL new league year. The Arizona Cardinals are trading for DeAndre Hopkins.
DeAndre Hopkins is in the conversation for 2 of the 3 most unguardable wide receivers in the NFL.
Hopkins with a juggling grab. Does he make it?
Yes! He's got unbelievable hands. What a play by DeAndre Hopkins.
Texans quarterback Deshaun Watson not happy with his star wide receiver that he's gone, tweeting his frustration with the DeAndre Hopkins trade. Quote, I don't even know how I'm going to make it out of here clean. Can't even keep track of who plays for the other team. Iconic duos, R.I.P. and split at the seams. No, I think it was rip and split at the seams. That's actually Drake lyrics. I apologize to everyone. I sound so suburban right now. I should have had Max or Stephen A. do that. But Marcus Spears joining us now. How we doing, Marcus?
What's up, Molly? The read
Hold
was
on,
great.
hold on.
You sounded,
Hold on.
If
It was
Hold on, Marcus.
put a beat to it, you'd
Hold
have
on,
been
hold
good.
it. Stop. Molly Karen Rose, did you just go on national TV and say that Max or myself should sound suburban? You just said that?
No,
You have any idea where I'm from?
I sound so... No, Stephen A. I said I sound so suburban. It's
missed it.
embarrassing. I should never read Drake lyrics. I was saying that you guys should have done it. I was making fun of myself.
All right. Okay. I'm just checking. I'm from Hollis.
Yeah.
Hollis,
All
Queens
right.
in the building. That's all I'm trying to say. All right.
No, we know
funky
that.
fresh
That's
from
where I
Hollis.
was
I was
going.
waiting.
Such a gangster.
All right, guys,
Such a gangster.
forget the Drake lyrics, all right? We'll try to get Drake on to read his own lyrics. Let's focus on the sentiment of this, though. Deshaun Watson is not happy, obviously, that DeAndre Hopkins gets traded here. What do you think he's saying with this tweet, Max?
It sounds to me like he's fixing to get out of there. I mean, I know how I'm going to get out of here clean. Look, if you tweet something like that, when they take away not only your best receiver, I think it's amazing that Hopkins winds up on the same team as Fitzgerald, right? Because you had Chris Carter, you had Larry Fitzgerald, now you have DeAndre Hopkins, the guys with the superhuman hands. DeAndre Hopkins is always open and he never drops the ball because of he has just been an amazing player. And Deshaun Watson had him as his primary target, and they traded him for peanuts. Not just for peanuts, but for a bad contract, and didn't even get proper compensation for it. Well, Deshaun Watson is not stupid. He can see that his coach is a bad GM. He is not happy, and those lyrics sound like a warning shot fired from Deshaun Watson. Like, not just keep this up and I might want out of here, but fix this or I'm going to want out of here.
You could say that. I think it's his way of saying he wants to get the hell up out of there. I think he's watching First Take on a regular basis, and he heard his boy Stephen A. say, yo, get the hell up out of there because your coach stinks as a general manager. It's that simple. DeAndre Hopkins is all world. He's a future Hall of Famer. He's one of the top receivers in football without denial. Receptions, receiving yards, touchdown receptions. This brother's top 2 in the NFL over the last 3 to 5 years, and your coach gets rid of him clearly with no thought of you because he got an attitude with the brother. That makes no sense whatsoever. Listen, here's the thing that kills me about folks in the workplace and beyond, especially when it comes to coaches and elite players. Now, if you are a player who breaks rules, Swagoo, you don't follow rules and regulations, you march to your own beat, you do what you want to do, that's different. I understand. There must be order. You can't be insubordinate and things of that nature. I totally get that. But if I follow the rules and regulations, I bust my tail, and I'm a high-end producer, but we ain't having Thanksgiving dinner together or exchanging Christmas gifts. What the hell is the problem? I don't understand how people walk around acting like this kind of stuff is necessary. There's plenty of people in the working world who do what they have to do and go their separate ways. I happen to love Max Kellerman. I'm cool with the brother. Yo, man, we ain't hanging. Max goes his way when First Take is over. I go my way. We come on the air
how much
every
of each
morning.
other could we possibly
wreak
take?
havoc, we wreck shop, and we move on. I don't understand this. I love Molly. Molly's one of the sweetest people in the world I know. I don't hang out with Molly. I don't do that. You understand? Hey, Swagoo, you're my dog. You know that. I've been to Dallas a few times. When have I seen you in Dallas? I don't. I miss Darren Woodson. I don't hang with him. I might go to Playmaker, Michael Irvin. That's my man. I don't hang with him. I got stuff to do. This notion that we got to hug one another and sing Kumbaya in order for us to work together with the same agenda is utterly ridiculous. And Bill O'Brien should be ashamed of his damn self for getting rid of DeAndre Hopkins because clearly you don't have a personal affinity for him or whatever. And you threw Deshaun Watson, your star quarterback, one of the elite young quarterbacks in this game, out to pasture because you got rid of his best weapon. Deshaun Watson is saying, get me the hell up out of here. I love the city of Houston. I love going to Rockets games. I damn sure love not having to pay state income tax when my check comes, but I can't take this, man, Bill O'Brien. Get me the hell up out of here. That's what he's saying. And he can't say it directly, so I'm going to do it for him.
I'm so glad both of y'all said that, and I 100% agree. Let me go to another degree of this. You don't disrespect my brother and expect me to think that because you possibly are gonna give me something or you high on me that I'ma just disregard the fact that you disrespected my brother and act like everything is all good. I think that's what Deshaun Watson is saying. Like showing these clips of him having a relationship with Bill O'Brien and they hugging in the locker room and all of that stuff transpires throughout a season when you're going through ups and downs and you have a point of success. This is one that sticks with you though. Like being in the locker room with brothers, with dudes that you respect highly. Not only that, but to your point, Stephen A. and Max, you took my production away. This hurts me as a football player, let alone is somebody that I'm close to. So there are a lot of underlying issues with the fact that Bill O'Brien decided to trade D-Hop, and now you got a disgruntled Deshaun Watson who not only had a personal relationship with D-Hop, but also a business relationship. And both of those businesses, the business of Deshaun Watson and the business of D-Hop, was working on getting a whole lot of money together, and Bill O'Brien decided to disrespect that and disregard it. So beyond the tweet and the subliminals and all of that, to me it ain't even subliminal. Mm-hmm. To me it's saying, I don't even know what you doing, Bill O'Brien. I've lost respect. Now, here we go with football. The football part of it now is you know that you've lost a degree of respect for your starting quarterback. Houston Texans franchise, Bill O'Brien being GM and head coach, you have a budding superstar at quarterback, and you don't have his respect anymore because of what you did
Marcus,
to his brother.
let me get in here
this ain't
really
the
quick.
end of these ramifications.
No question. Let me get in here. And obviously, if you don't have trust in a relationship, honestly, what do you have? I have some breaking news for you guys. The Panthers are expected to release quarterback Cam Newton today. That according to our Adam Schefter. Stephen A., I'll pick this up with you. Your thoughts on the Panthers letting Cam walk?
I don't even understand why this is breaking news. He's been gone from the moment they decided they were bringing Teddy Bridgewater there. I mean, we all knew. I mean, what is this, a foregone conclusion? I mean, breaking news. To me, this is damn near tantamount to the Cavs hiring Beeline as their coach. I'll never forget when Get Up came on the air, Swagoo, and they were like, yo, it's breaking news. You know, John Beeline is the new coach for the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Stephen A.
And I was going like this. Is LeBron James in Cleveland? Who gives a damn about the Cavaliers? And oh, by the way, Beeline, you know, in Michigan, sure. But in the pros, who cares? Nobody cares. It ain't breaking news. And this stuff with Cam Newton, even though Cam Newton is obviously a name with cachet, and we still believe he can ball, and he's only 31 years of age, the bottom line is the moment that Rule and the crew in Carolina decided that Teddy Bridgewater was going to be their new quarterback, Cam Newton was gone. He's gone. Ain't nothing to talk about here. No big deal.
Yeah, but it is news.
We all know he was going. It's just a matter. Now, it'll be big news when we hear where he's going. But he's been gone from Carolina for a few days now. This is just another added.
Normally, you'd be right about that. Normally, you'd be right about that. In this case, because it's a foregone conclusion, in other words. But in this case, it deserves a moment for us just to acknowledge what just happened. The end of the Cam Newton era in Carolina is here. That's significant because Cam is not just a guy who had potential. I wonder what could happen. Cam achieved the position among his peers. His peers voted him the best football player in the world at one point, and he won the MVP that year, and he took his team to the Super Bowl, and they had a chance to win it. This is like, for you know, when Cam and Luck came out in succeeding years, right? Number one overall picks. And even in college, it's like, who's going to be the better pro? Where people, you know, Cam is maybe even more physically gifted than Andrew Luck, but Luck has people believing that Luck is retired already, and Luck had a pretty good career. He took a bad team, turned him into a good team, won double-digit games a bunch of years in a row. But Luck didn't have Cam's career. Cam achieved heights very few do. The only thing that was missing was a Super Bowl ring, and he came fairly close. He got to the big game. Like, that's a big deal. Rivera's gone. Now Cam's gone. Like, I think we could take a moment to say, you know what, Stephen A., even if it was a foregone conclusion, right now is the moment where we acknowledge, damn, that's the end of the Cam Newton era in Carolina.
Right.
Well, let's do some reflectionary shows and talk about Cam's career. I'm agreeing with Steve. Max, come on, this been over. It was. I'm gonna go even further, Stephen A. To before they signed Teddy Bridgewater. When Tepper came out and said, when they clearly asked him, "Do you plan on moving forward with Cam Newton?" He was like, "Well, we got to see the medicals. We have to figure it out." No, you don't. If you want Cam Newton to be your quarterback, you gonna lean in public towards Cam Newton being your quarterback. Then Matt Rule comes out and says, "I want to coach Cam." No, the hell you don't, because the owner just said we are going to wait and see on Cam Newton. Like, I get it. It is an end of an era. Max, you are right, but this ain't the time. Like,
Gentlemen,
this breaking news, this
guys,
particular part,
we gotta
breaking
go.
news ain't shocking.
I know we gotta go.
I know everyone wants to make fun of my breaking news here on the Cam Newton, but we have real breaking news on the Olympics. Go ahead, Stephen A.
Go ahead. I was just going to sit up there and say swagoo. I tell you what, it should make you laugh. The Houston Roughnecks, the MVP of the XFL, is expected to challenge Teddy Bridgewater. If that ain't proof Cam Newton is gone, I don't know what is. He's been gone.
Cam Newton can still be a good
Let's go.
quarterback.
I
Very
can't
good.
deal with you guys.
Just healthy.
Marcus, thank you. You're unbelievable, all of you. When we come back on First Take, we do have breaking news. The Olympics have been postponed, and we are going to hear from a two-time Olympic gold medalist, a two-time World Cup champion. Carly Lloyd joins us on First Take after this break. And Tua, where will he land in the draft? It's still scheduled as planned. Who will pick him up? We'll discuss that.